Good morning and welcome to students, faculty, staff, families, friends, trustees, Mr. Whalen and Mr. Greenberg to the 2019 Greens Farms Academy commencement ceremonies, and a special welcome to GFA's class of 2019 with whom I graduate today. Growing up, I was always a picky eater. My diet consisted of mainly Kraft mac and cheese and chicken nuggets, and I was wary of straying away from routine. My taste buds were trained. I liked what I liked. I wouldn't step outside my comfort zone if you paid me. I was 11 and well versed in this habit when I came to GFA in 6th grade, and it's safe to say that one of my biggest apprehensions upon entering this new, strange school, apart from the possible social and academic challenges, was having to dabble in new cuisines and try new food. As any member of the community can tell you, our cafeteria staff does not let students and faculty fall into routine, except for maybe our quintessential pasta Mondays, which, as I have been informed, are now pasta Wednesdays. Well, I soon figured out through GFA that food can be a really wonderful thing, and was introduced into the wonderful world of broccoli, then squash, then stir fry, until, flash forward 7 years later, I've tried nearly everything GFA has to offer concerning food, classes, and extracurricular activities. It's rather common to have preconceived notions about what you are good at, or what speaks to you, and what doesn't. For me, computer science has never really been my thing. But, much like my explorations in the cafeteria, I decided to expand my palette academically. Sophomore year, by participating in a work crew opportunity in the technology office, and taking a class whose name was even impressive: ethical hacking. My only experience in hacking was watching Criminal Minds and other assorted crime shows where a character, usually playing a computer analyst and dressed sleekly in all black, sits in a dark room using some sort of computer code to hack into an enemy mainframe while techno music plays in the background. In the movies, hacking involved quick executions and snappy catchphrases. So I thought, hey, I already have one of these down, so how hard could it really be? Difficult. Very, very difficult. I'm somebody who can somewhat easily recall the conquests of Maximilian Robespierre or the conjugations for Spanish subjunctive tenses. But for whatever reason, I could not retain any information on computer code or what you should do when infiltrating another person's computer using Trojan malware. I left ethical hacking at the end of the year with an immense respect for computer scientists and the knowledge that it really probably wasn't for me. But venturing out to expand your palette isn't by definition finding something you like. In fact, sometimes finding out what you don't want to do, like be a coder, can be just as valuable, if not more, than finding out what you do. I've really kept that idea in mind, both regarding academics and extracurriculars over my time at GFA, because if you know me at all, then you know that I've tried just about every single sports team GFA has to offer. I've tried volleyball, softball, cross country, and tennis to test my coordination, fencing to hang out with my friend Amy and play with swords, wrestling to get a little bit cooler, sailing to appease my grandfather, whose nonsense catchphrase, hama hama hama, I don't know what it means, would surely be heard joyfully after at least one of his granddaughters chose to partake in his passion. I even did one day of lacrosse in 7th grade, promptly got a black eye, and took that as a sign from the universe that no, I was not meant to be a lacrosse player. Well, I'm not going to lie and tell you I was good at even half of these activities. I mean, the first and only time I skippered or directed a sailboat during my stint on the sailing team, I immediately rammed right into the metal buoy. But there was something about both the multitude of opportunities at GFA, as well as the community atmosphere, that encouraged me to attempt new feats and try new activities alongside my classmates. I mean, if I'm being honest, if it wasn't for the communal incitement to try new things, chances are I wouldn't even be up here today. See, more slip-ups are to come. But throughout middle and elementary school, I never talked on stage, ever. Even the idea of giving a class presentation made me contemplate faking a sickness or going mute. I was terrified, and that sentiment was essentially unwavering as I made my way into the upper school. My freshman year, I signed up for a couple clubs, and my friend actually signed me up for one more. Bloopers, the GFA Improv Club. I sat silently in the corner for the first and second meetings, but on the third was forced onto the stage where I made a complete fool of myself. like really, really bad. I mean, for some context, the one rule of improv is don't say no. So for example, if Mr. Whalen and I were in a scene in which, let's go out on a limb here, I was graduating and he was ahead of school, really hard to believe. If he was to say, wow, too bad it's raining, I guess we have to move graduation inside, I couldn't say, no, it's not raining, because that wouldn't make any sense. But sometimes even saying no is preferable when you're silent. I mean, you can't work with silence. But there I was, a deer in the headlights who stood there mute while a senior member desperately tried to rope me into a conversation. I honestly believe that in any other environment other than GFA, that experience could have led me to leave the club and improv forever. Yet the funny thing about expanding your palette is sometimes trying something just once isn't really enough to gauge how it makes you feel. I mean, against my initial instinct, I went to the next meeting and had a blast. Flash forward 4 years later, and I'm leading the club and even participated in a few musicals. This is the largest crowd I've ever spoken in front of, and I somehow feel at home, as I'm sure my graduates do as well, or my fellow graduates rather. I don't know a lot, but what I do know is that GFA is a community in which being uncomfortable or pushing the limits on what you believe is possible for yourself and others is fundamentally ingrained in its foundation. We have Dr. Freeman's and Dr. Scholin's to foster scientific explorations into the unknown by students, global theses, sustainability, and STEAM projects that encourage us to question our worldly beliefs on what is possible, May terms on everything under the sun, and crazy difficult classes that as GFA students we take anyway, knowing that it's going to be a struggle, because we're hungry for a challenge, and GFA delivers. A voracious appetite for the unknown and the desire to expand one's comfort zone are two ideas emblematic of my classmates, and I truly admire each and every one of them for it. In this class, we have mathematicians, scientists, athletes and researchers, poets, and more. And for most, if not all of us, even if we haven't figured out what exactly we want to do in the coming future, our palettes, what we know we enjoy, have evolved and been shaped by GFA and the incredible people within its walls. To those who are rising up through the upper school, I encourage you to continue expanding your palette. Try new food, including the tilapia, and be willing and open to embrace the new opportunities and experiences GFA will inevitably bring your way. To the GFA faculty and staff, thank you for the last 4 years. Thank you for the opportunities. Thank you for the mentorship, and thank you for the food. But perhaps most importantly, to my fellow graduates, as we look forward to the rest of our lives, I know the best is yet to come. Thank you, and again, welcome to the 2019 Green Sparks Academy Committee.